Hey, hope you're doing well. So I've got a little bit of a rant today. I want to complain about the reaction, the response to a post that I made about a week ago after getting back from the US Open. I saw the semifinals for the WTA. And if you haven't seen this post yet, this is on my YouTube channel. It's on our Facebook page. It was in an email that I sent out, an email broadcast. And so I listed out the top six things, top six lessons that I learned from Coco Gauff in her match against Muchova. And so just quick review. Number one, your best chance to win isn't always your best shot. It's not always like the hardest shot closest to the line. Number two, just because you can hit hard doesn't mean that you should. Number three, changing direction doesn't have to be a laser. Number four, changing heights leads to discomfort. Number five, changing spins leads to discomfort. Number six, stick to the plan. And so I go through and just kind of tell the story of this match. I was so impressed by the poise and just the intelligence behind the game plan that Coco had in the semifinal against Muchova. So this got posted all over the place, and I just noticed a theme in the reaction. I'm going to show you a couple of the reactions to this post right now. But the gist of my post was play smart tennis. You don't have to hit it hard. You don't have to hit it close to the lines. There's lots of other ways to make your opponent uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, the way you win at tennis is by hitting the ball inside the lines one more time than your opponent. There's no bonus points for power or for the best technique or anything like that. Being smart, it should always be your foundational plan. Being more consistent, figuring out how they become uncomfortable, and then kind of poke at that. So here's some reactions to that post. So, first reaction here. Really? I thought they both played well below their normal levels. I appreciate the honesty here and the transparency. I look at my response here. Or maybe one player slowed things down knowing her opponent wanted pace and the big hitting player played poorly. So in other words, just because the pace is slower doesn't mean that it's below their normal level. In other words, like the underlying assumption here, a thought is harder is better. If both players just hit the ball as hard as possible, then that's better tennis or below their like normal level, where your best level on any given day might be slower than your maximum speed. That was kind of the whole point of the post, was be intelligent about how you use pace. If your opponent loves pace, which Muchova does, she loves the ball in her strike zone with a lot of pace and she redirects it really effectively, then slowing it down might be the best strategy, and trying to out-hit her might be the worst strategy. Okay, so that's comment number one. So, okay, comment number two from a reader. Forgot to mention the uncanny unforced errors from her opponent, meaning Muchova. Not just this one, but the last three matches, which is a head scratcher. But happy she won nonetheless. I can't. I have such a hard time like dealing with this comment, honestly. So my reaction: unforced errors is exactly the point of Coco's strategy. So in other words, this person is saying, "Hey, in case you didn't notice, maybe you didn't realize it, Muchova made a bunch of errors. Why didn't you comment about that?" First of all, so this is in like one of the first paragraphs of my email. It was puzzling at first. So like. I'm acknowledging here, like it seemed kind of weird. Like Coco wasn't hitting the ball super strong. In fact, it looked like she was kind of occasionally almost kind of moonballing. Puzzling at first, but after a couple games, a pattern started to emerge. Coco wasn't trying to out-hit her opponent at all. Instead, her goal was to outlast, aka consistency, to use consistency and shot tolerance as her primary weapon. Remember, there are no points awarded for hitting the ball harder or closer to the lines than your opponent, only for hitting it inside the lines one more time than them. And so I struggle with this. I struggle with the reading any part of what I wrote and not understanding the connection between slowing it down, changing speeds, changing spins, changing depths, and more errors happening on the other side. It was the whole point of my piece was to point out, by the way, when you don't hit it hard, sometimes your opponent will make a lot of mistakes. And then I don't know. I don't understand. Forgot to mention the uncanny, and I had to go look at the definition of uncanny. What's the definition of uncanny? Strange or mysterious. You forgot about the strange and mysterious errors that Muchova was making. And I wrote like over 1,000 words explaining why the errors happened. But apparently to this person it was still strange and mysterious that Muchova made so many mistakes. I don't know. Am I crazy? Okay, and then a third one here, last one. Um, uh, it's kind of like what this wasn't explicitly said here. It's not what was explicitly said. It was like what was left unsaid here. Unlucky you never got to experience watching Serena live. Till this day, no woman has matched the intensity I saw. Like, it still shakes me to the core. Um, so my response, I watched Serena play and train many times in person. Absolutely, she was amazing. But it just kind of blows me away that it's this person's like assumption that I guess because I was so impressed with Coco and I was so blown away by how high IQ her play was and how intelligently she managed that match and the tactics, that I guess apparently it's not possible that I ever saw Serena live, I guess, because I was so impressed with Coco. Like how do you make that jump, like logically, from I was impressed with Coco, so I must not have ever seen I've seen Serena in person, I don't know, at least a half a dozen times, including I watched her play a match from the front row behind the baseline at Cincinnati. So I've seen Serena a whole bunch of times, and of course she's a beast, one of the most impressive athletes of all time, like in any sport, of course. But how can you not understand both things at once? Yes, Serena is unbelievably impressive and one of the best athletes ever. And B, Coco's IQ in slowing things down was also incredibly impressive. And I was blown away by her how high her IQ was in that match. Why does that mean I've never seen Serena live? Or else I guess I wouldn't have been impressed by Coco, I guess, if I ever saw Serena. So much more, snarkiness here than usual for me. If we boil all this down, I feel like the undercurrent. Now, I expect this from casual tennis fans. In fact, one of the people I watched the match with, we've talked a bunch about the match, and we're kind of laughing at some of the fans sitting next to us in Arthur Ashe, and how they were all high-fiving. Like, the harder the ball came off the racket and the lower over the net and the closer to the lines, the more this one fan in particular was, oh, yeah, high-fiving. And it was on those shots that my friend and I were like, what in the world? Like, that shot makes no sense. As like a 1, even for an elite professional player, it was like a 1 out of 10, like, slap that happened to go inside the lines. And my friend and I are like, geez, like, it's kind of an eye roll. I'm talking mostly about the match after, which was Madison Keys versus, who did Keys play? Oh, Sabalenka. Just a total slap fest, and just tons and tons of unforced errors. For a casual tennis fan, I would understand this kind of attitude. Like, like, you shouldn't be impressed by that. Like, watch Serena, that's impressive. Where it's like the harder the ball gets hit, like the more impressive. And that's impressive too. It has its own like place. But people who follow me, I would expect to have a little bit more like nuance and a little bit more depth to their like understanding and like at least hear where I'm coming from and appreciate like the breakdown. But it kind of blows me away, honestly, that even people that are students of the game and are working hard to understand it better and learn more about it are just like, really? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't think it was impressive at all. Forgot to mention all the errors. Like, what's up with those errors? And you must not have ever seen Serena. Like, it's not that impressive. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel crazy. I feel crazy having spent the hour or two writing that piece and seeing the reactions. I get it. You know, people always, the majority of people watching tennis will always be most impressed with the power and painting lines and stuff like that. But what about us? What about the rest? Like, that's not that's not even real life for the pros. That's not how the majority of points are won, is by slapping and hitting lines. That is not it. But B, what about us? Like, that's not even really an option for us normal players. So just wanted to like point out like some of the side comments. Make sure that you're not falling into that camp. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, there's a 99% likelihood you hear exactly where I'm coming from. But still entertaining and head scratching for me nonetheless. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got a chance to watch that match, and hopefully you got a chance to read my thoughts on it. If not, I highly recommend it. It was super instructional, and I really enjoyed it tremendously. Take care. Talk to you later.